All right. Let's talk about a couple of domestic issues. The appeals court have ruled that France is a safe country. So is India, by the way. No human rights obstacle returning anyone to France or India. So why is this one in, one out policy still actually about 31,000 in and 3 out? Why aren't you sending people straight back?
Well, the starting point is returns are up 14%, 35,000 return, and as Foreign Secretary, I kept a close eye in the relationships we were striking with a number of countries to make sure that their nationals are returned if they've got no right to be here. The truth is that we exited the European Union. We left the Dublin Convention. We did not have arrangements in place with countries to return.
But it doesn't matter. There's no objection to sending people back to France. It's a safe country.
This pilot is the first step at a negotiated deal with France for one in, one out, and I'm pleased that that has now happened despite attempts in the courts to thwart that. It's the beginning, not the end, of the story.
So here's the problem with this. 1,000 people crossed the Channel yesterday. Even if you got to your target of 50 returns a week at current rates, the probability for anybody getting into one of those boats being returned to France is around 1 in 20. In other words, 19 out of 20 of every boat will be sure that they won't get sent back. That is not a deterrent. What is the point of this?
I recognise that this is frustrating. Of course it's frustrating to see people coming across in this way, and it's deeply, deeply disturbing and troubling when people are losing their lives because of these gangs. But people also want to see the government making an attempt to rebuild a system that was broken by the last
attempt. Nobody's going back.
To rebuild a system that was broken by the last government. This is a breakthrough. Many journalists were suggesting that we wouldn't get there.
Know that they're not going to be sent back. It's not a breakthrough.
Just a few weeks ago, many journalists were speculating that we would not be able to do a deal with France. They were then speculating that the court would thwart that deal with France. We've got that deal, but I've said to you, Trevor, it's the beginning, it's not the end. It's an important deal to have struck, and we can build on it over the coming months and increase the numbers.
All right.
And that's what I expect the Home Secretary will be doing.
OK, are we heading towards derogation from the ECHR, the European Convention of Human Rights, in order to make it easier? Or maybe just how it's applied? That's what the Home Secretary has been talking about.
Well, the first thing to say is I've heard those who said we should pull out of the ECHR. It would undermine the Good Friday Agreement. It would undermine our fight against terrorism.
We're talking about specifically Article 8, which is the right to family life, so people can't claim, you can't send me back because of, my girlfriend or my cat or whatever it happens to be.
But just in the first 2 weeks in this new post as Justice Secretary, I was speaking to my Danish colleagues about the concerns that we have around Article 8 and whether we can come together as European colleagues to look at the ways in which we believe people are attempting to thwart, particularly areas around right to family life. How can we look at this again, and how can we come to a new arrangement? And that work has, must begin.
How quickly might we see action on that? 1,000 a day?
Well, I hope...
How quickly can you get something done?
Well, you will recognise that to make this effective, you've got to work right across Europe. This is being raised by many European allies. I believe we can get together following my predecessor going to Strasbourg, and we will attempt to deal with it.